Am I audible?
Now audible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bishan Bhai, for giving a wonderful start to this particular session in the evening. Uh, CA Chetan Dalal sir from Mumbai, CA Anjali Choksi, the speaker for the evening, CA Anjali Choksi, Chairperson Vikasa, CA Bishan Shah, Secretary of the branch, and various other members of Vikasa, and all the participants who are joining in this particular evening to learn for an hour something, the lessons of life, or how to become a better professional by learning various things from our Indian scriptures, and basically I think so from a Gita. Now, if I just tell about Chetan Dalal sir, then almost all chartered accountants know him very well as one of the expert in the field of forensic. Many times we have also heard him at Ahmedabad branch physically, and I don't think so. Probably sir might not remember, but sir gifted his own book written by him, Gita for Professionals, in chairman cabin. I think so. I can't recall that time, but after that, I and my wife read it, and from that day, I had a desire that let's invite sir as a speaker. And yes, today not physically possible, but virtually, yes, sir is there with us to share his views on how we can learn a lot from Gita and apply in our day-to-day life. So thank you, sir, for accepting the invitation and joining us to enlighten us with your knowledge. And apart from this, friends, as you know that every Sunday we are spending 1 hour in the morning for health and 1 hour in the evening for spirituality. So hereby happy to announce next Sunday session. Next Sunday on morning, we will be having Coach Sapna Vyas, who she'll be guiding us on fitness and health during COVID times. This will be again on same time of 11:30 to 12:30. And in the evening, again, we'll be having Dr. Nirja Gupta. She's again a very renowned speaker, and she'll be sharing the life lessons which we can learn from Mahabharata. And apart from that, the you can say plasma donation, blood donation, everything else is going on, and all those programs will come. So hope that this our 1 hour be a very enriching session which can help us to have a right mindset so that we can all revive from this pandemic situation. Now I request C. Anjali Choksi to introduce sir and take the session. Thank you. Yes.
Secretary of Ahmedabad branch, an esteemed speaker for today, CA Chetan Dalal. Before I introduce him formally, I would like to share the interaction which I am having since last 1 week. A very humble, a very grounded personality among us. I have never seen and interacted with a CA that when I asked for introduction, he says that Tamara jevo ek CA chu. Amazing. And when I look at your CV, a 5-page CV, and I can say that he's the godfather of forensic audit. I have never met him. It was just in this pandemic. We had been talking on call, but sir, I'm highly impressed by you, and I'm sure today's lecture would be one of the amazing things which our faculty would imbibe from you. The characteristics that stay grounded, keep doing your work, and let the world know from your actions rather than words. It's a privilege for me to introduce you formally a fellow chartered accountant, a certified fraud examiner who was the first in Bombay and one out of a total of about 20 in India, a certified internal auditor, and a certified information and system auditor. He was, as I mentioned, is the godfather of forensic audit. So he was the first of its kind in many of these things. He conducted the first ever course for ICAI on forensic accounting in 2009 and again in 2012 in Hyderabad. He's also currently a global investigation specialist operating from Bombay. He served in 2009 on the board of India chapter of the Association of Fraud Examiner during the term period of 2000-2004. He has also been a past member of the managing committee of the Indian Merchant Chamber of Banking, Finance and Insurance Committee, and also was on the editorial board of the UK-based magazine Inside Fraud. So, sir, wherever I see the fraud word, it's your name, and the first word is repeated in many of the training programs, in the workshops, whether at ICI, whether at Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, RBI, and many other things. Which it's a very detailed profile, but I would share few of the things. Other achievements to his credit are Tarneja Award for the best article on fraud, Bombay Chartered Accountant Association PM Trivedi for the best feature on standard auditing practices. First rank and excellence grade in NITC basic computer course. Economic theory, winner of merit award in economic theory in Bombay University. Winner of the Dinesh Himmatlal Shah Prize awarded by ICI for the best paper in audit November 1980. He has published so many books at ICI, WICI, Bombay Chartered Accountant Association, and the third edition that is very much relevant for us, Gita for Professionals, third edition by Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, and research articles and contributions. He's also known not in India but also outside India. Um, IT Audit Forum USA, a global publication for internal auditors, Accounts Ledger Canada, Inside Fraud UK, Internal Audit UK, a UK based journal, the White Paper Journal in the US Association, and Fraud Newsletter London, UK. We are today very proud that this learned faculty is giving us sessions on Gita. I'm very curious and excited to listen to you, sir. And without taking much time, I would now request CA Chetan Dalal to take the session further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anjali, Fenil, everybody else in the Ahmedabad branch, and all those who made it possible to have this session. It has always been my dream to speak on this subject of Gita, and to get a forum like this is really something that has given me immense fulfillment. So thank you all so very much. And to all the rest of the participants over here, my gratitude to you for really taking out the time and joining us today for this subject. And please, I beg of you to reconsider all the kind words that Anjali and Fenil and others have said. Because they say the proof of the pudding is always in the eating. So at 5 o'clock, how many of you still share even 10% of what they've said is going to be the real test of the truth and the merit in those words. The only thing where I find that there is merit in what she said is, okay, wherever there is the word fraud, I'm associated with it. So probably, I think
on
you have
positive
to also evaluate that in this. But
sir, very
nevertheless,
positive side, sir.
but thank you so very much for all those kind words. And believe it or not, I am certain that I don't deserve them. But as I said, thank you. And let me begin today's session. And today's session is something which I would like to clarify right at the beginning, is that I am not an expert on Gita, nor can I say that I have understood it perfectly or that I know it extremely well. Today's session is more for actually sharing some experiences with you. And in those experiences, there are some glimpses or some interface with some of our scriptures, which may not only mean Gita, it could be the Vedas, it could be any other scripture like the Bible or some other good religious scripture. The idea is basically to actually share some real life experiences that I've had in my life, and where I felt that having read or having understood some parts of these wonderful scriptures, they have given me some benefit. So my intention is largely to give you that, and under no circumstances am I an authority or am I somebody who you can say that, yes, if I have said something about the Gita, that is the final meaning of that. So that's the first thing I'd like to clarify. But nevertheless, I think I have read sufficient material on the Gita and some of these other scriptures to be able to tell you certain things which I strongly recommend, which I would like to also do during the course of this session. Friends, one of the most important things is that in our entire schooling, college, whatever we've learned in our lives, all of us are professionals, or all of us, even if there are some non-professional chartered accountants, I believe there in the crowd, there are others as well. I'm sure that when any of us has gone to a school or a college, they've been taught so many things like science, physics, literature, art, and different things, maybe how to groom ourselves, how to talk, how to speak, all these things have been taught. But one thing which is missing, and which is one of the most fundamental things, is how to think, or rather how to think correctly. Nowhere, no school teaches you this. It only gives you information. It only tells you maybe certain methods and certain techniques. But when it comes to the thought process and how one should lead a life, I think that part is sorely missing. And this is the place, friends, where a book like the Gita, or for that matter, any book, whether it's the Quran, Bible, whatever, they are actually the manuals of life. They enable you to enjoy life better. Today, if somebody tells you Gita, you can start when you're 60 years old, or Gita is something for the elderly, or Gita is something that we can start at a much later time. You don't need to do something now. I think they're the furthest away from the truth. Actually, these books, and I've read the Gita several times, I can tell you one thing, that if at all, if you try to sincerely see, try to learn what it says, it can only help you. Life becomes rosier. Life becomes so much more enjoyable if you try to follow some of the things in that. And they're very simple things. And that's what I would like to start with. Since we have just about 30-40 minutes left, I want to start with real life examples so that you people can relate to them. Now, most of the participants today are in the field of chartered accountancy. I would say most 80-90% of them, and most of us are either qualified chartered accountants or are in the process of becoming chartered accountants. So let me take one live case which is completely germane to this profession, and which is something which is very important. You know, when I passed my CA sometime back in 1983, and during that time we had three exams. We had an entrance exam, we had an exam called the intermediate exam, and then we had an exam called the final CA exam. So by God's grace, I had a very decent academic record. And in the middle exam, that is that intermediate exam, I was given, or I was awarded this prize, which is called the Dinesh Himmatlal Shah Prize. Now, this was an award, which was an All India award. So this particular award obviously made me feel very, very happy. And before I actually go further on that, I want to tell you one story from the scriptures, which is again very relevant to this. You know, if you listen to any good speakers talk on subjects like the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita, or some good epic scripture, this story comes quite often. And it is about the story of a person who had started meditating, a bhakt, a person who was a student who wanted to learn meditation. And this person went to the forest and he started doing meditation. He did deep meditation. And after a little while, his efforts fructified. And one day, whilst he was doing this meditation, suddenly a crow or some bird on the top of the tree, on the branch under which he was doing this meditation, suddenly started cawing, making some noise, which disturbed him in his meditation. And in a fit of anger, in a fit of rage, this person opened his eyes and stared at that bird with real anger and real hatred, such that because of his meditation, he had got such accumulated such powers that his very glare brought about a fire which burned down the bird, and the bird fell down dead. So the person who was meditating realized that, okay, he has now got these new powers, and he was delighted. And he didn't think about the bird that was killed in this, but he realized that, okay, finally his meditation has proved to be fruitful, and that he's been able to gain these powers. So then he went to the nearby village. In those days, when they did this meditation, they would go and seek alms, bhiksha from door to door. They would go and get food from the houses in the village. So he went there, and in one particular house where he went, a lady came out, and just as she was about to give him some food from inside her house, her husband called her for something, and she went back inside, and something probably happened whereby she was delayed for about 15 to 20 minutes inside. And this guy outside started getting impatient. And he felt that he was such a knowledgeable and a spiritual guru. By that time, it had already gone to his head. And he was very annoyed that this lady was not coming out in time and delaying this whole process. So when she came out, he glared at her in the same way that he glared at that bird who had distracted him when he was doing that meditation. And exactly the same thing happened, that fire and that heat came out from his eyes because of that glare of hatred. But the lady was not affected. The lady did not fear, did not get any harm, was not nowhere even remotely concerned about it. But she calmly told him that, sir, I'm not like that bird in your forest that I will get roasted and I'll fall down. I have also done meditation. And dear sir, remember that with meditation, it will be possible, it will be useful, it will be effective only when you bring it with humility. That is the thing which you lack at the moment. And that is the time that that person realized that, yes, this lady has the same powers. She knew about that bird, and that happened way miles away into the forest. How did she know about it? That was because of similar meditation techniques. And friends, the important lesson in this is that even when you achieve something, when you have some accomplishment in life, that is a God's gift to you. And it should never go to your head. The moment humility goes away and only success stays inside you, it is worse than a failure. That success or that award or whatever you get is nowhere near a failure which can actually teach you something. And that's the time that we must realize that when you achieve something, it is because of God's gift, and that should make you even more humble. If you take any tree, the more fruits it has, the more it bends down. And this, friends, is a very simple thing which we all very often miss out. And look at that other lady on the other side, that she had gained similar powers like the powers that spiritual guru had got. But she did not give up doing her regular duty. She still attended to her husband. She was looking after her household. She was not required to go and sit in the forest and do that meditation. It was possible even at home. So friends, this is one of the basic things that a manual like the Gita teaches us, that you don't really have to go into the forest to do meditation or to really achieve something very great. You don't have to become closer to God. You don't have to necessarily go to a temple. Of course, it doesn't mean that you should not go to a temple. I'm saying that is not a prerequisite. The prerequisites are entirely into your mind. Once you learn and train your mind to think correctly, there you are, friends. You have reached 50% of the road to God there itself. So let me come back to my example. Now, I want you to understand that I'm not just saying something in order to preach that. I'm really going to open myself out to show you what a bad person I have been. So as I told you, in my intermediate examination, I had got this best paper in audit prize. So obviously it went to my head also. I also thought at that time that there cannot be any better auditor than me. And it happens because it was a prize which was like an all India prize. And I'm telling you this in all honesty, that this is what happened. So what used to happen is, years later, when I was in full-time practice and I started doing work on forensics and fraud investigation and all that, there came an inquiry from some company in Delhi. And one person over there, his name was Ashok Bharat. He was given a designation, something similar to business controller or something. And he came to interview me. And like me, probably he must have had to interview 3-4 other firms for deciding on whom to award this particular assignment, that particular assignment. And I remember we met in a hotel in Bombay somewhere. And naturally, when you want some work, when you want some assignment, you always tend to put your best foot forward. So, and that is also all right. But as long as you do not be belligerent about it, or you don't try to become pompous about it, it's all right. But I remember when I met him for the first time, I sized him up as a person, a good human being, a person who must have been in that company for maybe a long time. and that he would be probably at best a double graduate with a lot of experience, but he was very good. And so, I spoke to him accordingly, and I had a great superiority complex with him. So I said that, look, Ashok, you people will not understand. People can even cheat you in MIS reports. People can hoodwink you by doing this. In fact, in my institute, I've got this best paper in audit price. So if you give the assignment to me, you'll be in safe hands, and you will know what we can, what we are capable of doing. And then I laid it on very thick. And the poor guy, this Ashok, was wide-eyed, and he seemed very impressed, and then went back. And by God's grace, a few days later, I got the award of that assignment also. And I performed that assignment. And I had a full team. I don't know whether one or two members of my team have logged in today, but I had a team over there where we used to always discuss that, okay, how is it going? We used to, talk about how things are happening. And then when it came to the final day, we had to make a presentation to the CEO of that company that was in Delhi. And when we went there, we made the presentation. It went off quite well, and everybody was happy about it. And this gentleman, Ashok, was also there. And he said that, yes, I have got my car. I'll drop you to the airport. And friends, during that trip from the place where we made the presentation to the airport, I'll never forget that in my life. What happened was, I also, in a way, I was feeling grateful that it was because of this guy, Ashok, that I had got this particular assignment. So I told him that, Ashok, I think it was very enjoyable. And, I think you would have also made a very good chartered accountant had you, studied further. So that was the time he said, no, Chetan, I am a chartered accountant. So I got a shock of my life, because I thought that he was just probably some experienced senior accountant or something of that sort. So I said, yeah. I said, that is very good. And that's the time when he went a step further, and he explained to me, one of the reasons why I really was very connected with you right from the first stage was that we have one common thing. So I said, what is it? He said that you told me that you had won the best paper in audit prize, right? He said that I also won the best paper in audit prize. And that was the time when the ground completely slipped from under me. So now I realized that this person whom I thought would probably not understand MIS reports, who wouldn't understand debit or credit properly, and that how people could actually cheat him. He was at least equal to me. He had won the prize, the best paper in audit prize in our own institute. But the final nail in the coffin came when I found out that he had won that in the final CA prize. I had won that in the inter CA prize. So he was actually better than me. Friends, ever since that day, I hate to share my profile also, because otherwise, one tends to allow it to go to our head. That's why even just now, just 5 minutes before the program, I was forced by her to send this profile, and that is the reason why I sent it. Otherwise, I generally hate and avoid giving these profiles, because what happens is, when people think or say a lot of good things about you, whether you like it or not, it goes to your head. And that is one of the biggest things, the biggest pitfalls in lives, in our lives. If we are able to take success in the right way with all humility, only a humble person, and I repeat, only a humble person can become a genuinely successful person in life. A person who has ego, however great his talent may be, will never, never, and never come. And friends, I've got a surprise for you. If I don't know whether Ashok is still there, but I think Ashok Barat, this same person who was the better chartered accountant than me, has logged in. I personally requested him, if any of you wants to ask him a question about whatever I have told you, he's right here. And friends, because my reading, whatever little bit of Bhagavad Gita I've read, there is no trace of any kind of jealousy. There is no trace of any one-upmanship between us. And today I am ready to announce that he's better. And by that, I am not lowering myself. I don't think if you say that somebody is better than you, I tell you, friends, you are a great person, because to be able to see something good in somebody else is a divine virtue. You know, if you see Mahatma Gandhi, he has never won a Nobel Prize for peace also. But if you ask, if he had been alive, I don't think he would have ever begrudged anybody else. And his real victory, friends, his real victory is the fact that every Nobel Prize winner till date would probably have known or heard of Gandhiji. But Gandhiji may not have known of every Nobel Prize winner, even in his lifetime. That is the real greatness. Getting a prize or getting an award is good, but allowing it to rule you, allowing it to speak for you, allowing it to be constantly brought in the forefront is one of the biggest things, which doesn't talk about the award. It talks about your ego and your state of mind. You're not thinking correctly. And friends, that is why I'm saying, for those of you who may have achieved awards, who may have done brilliantly, use that as stepping stones for doing something even better. Do not bask in the glory of any success or any award that you have. Accept it as a gift, as a prasad from God. And believe it or not, you will not stop there. You will become much better. And on the other hand, if you use any of your achievements to stagnate you or to stop, arrest your progress, I feel that that will be one of the saddest things that can happen. So, friends, this is one of the first lessons that the Bhagavad Gita tells us, that ego, you should try and remove or eliminate ego. Everybody here in this world is an equal. Everybody here in this world has a right to stay. If somebody is better than you, God has designed that, and he or she deserves to be what they are and what position they are. And you are not bad. You have your own strengths. You have to learn to search and recognize them, but never at the expense of looking down or being jealous or hating others. In fact, in our lives, according to me, friends, we human beings are born with excellent characteristics and features, but these defects of emotions, anger, hatred, jealousy, greed, all these are talked about in the Gita and all these Puranic scriptures. These are the arresting factors. They bring us closer to the Maya, these wrongful things that appear, the perception rakshasas which are there, which unfortunately bring down your progress. You take these out from your system, and I can promise you, I can give it to you on any stamp paper, that your progress in whatever you do, whatever you may be involved in, it will be phenomenal. Remove your ego. That is the first thing. The second experience that I want to talk to you about is having difficulties in life. And friends, I had written this article also some years ago in the BCS, and it gave me very good feedback. So I would like to talk about this, because I believe there are many students also who are going to look at the future when they become chartered accountants. You see, when I also became a chartered accountant in 1983, and friends, I'm sure all of you agree with me, everybody who's there in this, we all thought that when we became chartered accountants, it was something really great, and that at least in my time, I expected that there will be a line of clients on my doorstep, and that everybody will come, oh, we have to go to Mr. Chetan Dalal for his signature for the audit and this and that. So that's a feeling. That's a wrong feeling, of course, but that's the feeling that we have. And it so happened that within 6 months to 1 year of my life, I came to know that after becoming a chartered accountant, life is not a bed of roses. It's not that, okay, now that you're a chartered accountant and business will keep coming. No, not at all. So I tried, people were not ready to come, clients were not easy to get. And I'm sure many of you must be going through this at this stage. So that is why I want to particularly talk about this experience of mine. And then certain relatives, certain people who are in business, they advise me, Chetan, you have to understand, you cannot be completely academic in nature. You have to become practical. Now, I'm sure I don't have to go into the details of explaining what is the meaning of practical to all of you, but you all know what happens at tax offices, you know what happens at different kinds of places where it's not only your your knowledge of depreciation and section 44AB, that is important, but it is also necessary to make the other side happy to get the necessary results. In short, corrupt practices. So I was told that what you have to do is you have to see that your client is happy, ultimately that the work is done. And in order to make the client, you may have to make others happy as well. So much as I was against it, because when you're new in the field, you always want to be straightforward, honest. I mean, you are really, your mind wants to do something good. And I'm sure all of you have gone through this. But circumstances and the environmental influence forces you to do things that you don't want to do. And I also started doing it. I'm ashamed to say, and friends, I'm really ashamed that at one time I used to do everything wrong. And I just hope that if at all any of you has some feeling for me at the end of it, please pray for me that God forgives me for whatever I've done wrong in those days. So I used to do everything wrong. I used to bribe, I used to pay money, I used to do whatever is done. And you all know, many of you have seen what life practices. I did all that. But I started making a lot of money in those wrongful acts and actions also. And it was going on for some time. Then one day, you see, my wife is also a chartered accountant. And I had one or two good friends also in amongst my clients. They all told me that, Chetan, you had such a decent academic record. Why do you need to do all these wrongful things? Why do you need to do these things which our conscience does not allow us to do? So obviously, friends, my answer was very, very clear. I said, if I don't do this, how are we going to earn? That time my children were just maybe 3 years or 5 years old, and we were just into the early period of our lives. But that's the time my wife told me that, no, I'm willing to stand by you. Let's try to follow our conscience for a change. Let's give it a shot at least. Let's make an effort to go straight. Whatever has happened up till now, let it be. But hereafter, let us try. Let's see if we can manage without doing something wrong. So something that she said made an impact on me, and I said that yes, let's do it. Let's do it. So we decided that from that day onwards, we won't do anything that it would be not right, what our conscience would not permit us to do. And we would try to run a straight practice. In those days, friends, let me tell you, I had one major client where I was doing an audit, where I was helping them everything. Like, it was my main source of livelihood. 80% of my income was coming from there. Where I had to do, apart from the audit, the internal audit and the other things, I had to do also some of those other wrong things also. So it was closing in near the month of March, and the director called me. And the director told me that, look, Chetan, now we have to manage our profitability and we need to do this, that, and so just help out and let's do the needful. So first time in my life, I said that, sir, I'm sorry. We have decided not to do these kind of things. So I'm sure all of you see Bollywood films, no? And you must have seen a lot of films where the hero also, goes and tells the villain that, okay, sir, आज से मैंने ये काम करना बंद कर दिया, खराब काम करना बंद कर दिया. So the first reaction is laughter. That they say that, okay, Chetan is now not in a good mood, so probably he will come around. He said, okay, Chetan, we'll discuss next time. So after a few days, he again called me. The next time he called me, his tone was much more stern than what was the previous time. And he said that, look, now I don't want to waste time. We need to do this, this, this. And friends, I can tell you, perhaps in my life, that must have been that one moment where I resisted my temptation. See, remember one thing, I was going to lose a very big amount. That was one thing. Secondly, I also knew the consequences of what was going to happen by refusing to do that. Because the people who are giving me good work, it was a package that I was allowed to do the good work, because some of the other things also which was required for the company was to be done by me. I knew that therefore the risk was that I would probably have much more at stake than just that particular transaction that they were talking about. And exactly that's what happened. The director said that, Chetan, you are my friend. I would like you to continue. But here, it's not something that you can do only good work and stay aside and be holier than thou, and the others will find somebody else to do the other dirty work. No, it is very clear that we want you to do the good work also, but you have to take it. It all comes as a package. If you do refuse this, I won't be able to say anything to the board. Then maybe we may have to discontinue with you. Friends, there was a lump in my throat. I knew that I was facing a very, very strong negative action, and I didn't know what the consequences would be, because I didn't have any ancestral wealth behind me. I was happy. I mean, the money earning that I had was good, but friends, it's a fact that I was dependent largely on this. And that moment in my life perhaps is one of the reasons why I am here also today in front of you, because I think God tested me to see whether I will be a man enough to take that decision. I said that, no, sir, I have taken a decision. I won't be doing it. I knew I was crestfallen because I was not sure what is going to happen, because that time I didn't have that confidence in God which I have today. But I took that decision, and perhaps that's what maybe God liked. And he said, then, okay, you can go. We'll see what is to be done. Came back home. I told my wife also. She was also very sad, because we had a very, very, big responsibility. My mother was still alive at that time, and these two kids were there, and life was not easy to sustain ourselves. And actually it happened. But the next day they called me up and told me that you finish your last quarter's audit, which you are supposed to do, and then we are sorry to say. The director was very nice. He said, Chetan, even now there's time. If you're willing to do what we say, this is still on. I mean, we don't want to lose you. But by that time, I had become a little stronger. I said that, no, sir, thank you so much, and I won't. But hell broke loose. After that, for maybe a month or so, we were living in a very dismal state, because we knew that after this, where are we going to get work? Where will we generate that kind of money? What will happen? And the world around us was very gloomy. And believe it or not, friends, we had to complete that last quarter's audit, and God must have watched us. I presume, this is what my guess is, but this is what I feel. And I'm telling you exactly what happened at that time is that in that last quarter's audit, I had got some two novices who were doing the audit, because then my affordability for having good assistants was also not there. They found some fraud of a double payment in that company, in that last quarter's audit. And in those days, it was a big amount also. And when they found that, they reported to the CFO. They, of course, I was kept informed also. And not only was the CFO given all the evidence about what was done and how the fraud was done, but they had got enough ammunition to be able to recover that money from that particular transporter had been doing some fraud in some transport bills, that the company got back the money also. So that was the time the CFO, of course, reported this to the directors, and the directors, who so far had thought that Chetan is merely a fixer, a person who's good, okay, go to the department and get this thing done. He was viewed as a person who could do only these kind of things. That the first time he felt, okay, this man has got something which is different, something which is very good. And the board decided that we should at least give him 1 year's extension, because what he has done is he has got some benefit back to the company. It would be impolite to possibly just remove him at that time, and again for no apparent reason. So they and with a smile, they said that, no, we are happy with your work and we would like you to continue at least for 1 year. We'll take a decision later. So for me and my wife, it was a godsend. Like, we had taken just one step towards God, but God had at least given us some more time. But friends, once again, I must tell you, and again, this is my personal experience, that when you take that one step, and that one step is a sincere step towards God without any expectation, God takes 10 steps towards you. What happened was, sometime later, and when I was still the auditor of that company, the company faced a very big fraud in some other city. I think it was in Calcutta. And inside the board, they all were deciding, okay, whether this should be given to one of the very big global firms and all that, because it's a big thing. there the CFO and the director who was known to me, they said that no, we should actually take this person because he has been able to give us such a thorough and such a penetrative report. Even that previous thing that we had, where we were not even aware that there was something wrong, that we were able to recover. I think we should use this expertise that we have, and we should give this assignment to him. The board readily agreed because they had a favorable opinion at that time. And friends, in that assignment itself, next 5 years fees were covered. It was such a big assignment that was given to me. And it, by God's grace, that also went off very well. And friends, thereafter, I promise you, friends, thereafter, I'm not saying I'm making millions. I'm not saying that I'm the best in forensic, but I don't have to go around and ask for work. God has made that much for me that people come to us and they say, will you do it? Maybe we get small assignments. Maybe we don't get the biggest of assignments, but I'm happy. And having a decent reputation, friends, is perhaps one of the very big pieces of wealth or an asset that you have. You may have a very big bank balance, but very poor reputation. That bank balance will not survive in the long term, but your reputation will always survive. And that's, friends, something that I must tell you, that in life, sometimes you are put at crossroads. There are difficulties, there are obstacles, there are times where things can be completely intimidating, and you may feel like being tempted. Okay, let's do this, no, let's forget it, and let's take a shortcut. That is the place, friends, where you have to listen to your conscience. If your conscience tells you to do a certain thing or to go a certain way, please follow it, because your conscience is nothing but God speaking to you. In the Gita, Krishna was the charioteer. He never had any weapons himself. He was only telling Arjuna what to do. And he represents a conscience. And Arjuna represents or symbolizes each of us. So if we follow Krishna, who's there within our hearts, friends, you will never go wrong. At some point in time, whatever be the extent of your difficulties, and I say whatever means whatever be the extent of your difficulties, you will come out with it, as did Arjuna. That is one of the central lessons in the Bhagavad Gita. We are already just about close to 10 minutes to 5, so I won't go too long. But may I request Anjali? Anjali, can you hear me? Anjali is there?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm there,
Anjali,
sir.
I just wanted to I'll just say a couple of minutes more. And then I want you to put on that video, the one which has that sitar lesson. I think it is episode 2.
Yeah.
So I'll just explain. So friends, I'm going to now request Anjali to show you a small video which actually tells you something which is very important, which is a message that I want to say. That, with all, when we are talking about these awards and all these big things, sometimes you hear of people who say that, okay, they've got so many degrees and they are so well educated. They're good, of course, we should respect them, and education is education after all. But that's not the real thing in life. The true education, the true knowledge comes from within you. And for that, I just want to show you this small video. Do have a look at this video, and after that, I'll come back. Please go ahead, Anjali.
Yes.
In our everyday life, you will find, if you go through the internet, or very often even in conversations, you'll come across people who have brilliantly qualified, academically achieved the world, but they have not been that successful in life. And on the other hand, you may also find plenty of people who have not been educated at all, who probably have come from the worst strata of the society, and they have not had any formal training, but they have been really successful. What is the reason for this difference? It is because many of us feel that it is this knowledge, the certification, these different awards that really count in making a man successful. Absolutely not. Not that I'm saying that these awards and certifications are not useful, but what is true knowledge? True knowledge is that which comes from within. We have a powerhouse of knowledge which we can use in life. Formal education is not the only thing. And I want to give you an example of my own self. Right from my childhood, my father was very keen that I should learn some music. So he actually got me a Guruji to teach me sitar. I was a normal school going kid in those days, very much impressed with Bollywood and all those westernized songs, and sitar did not interest me. I did not want to know things like Rag Hamir and Yaman and Desh, which was there as a part of our rich culture of Hindustani music. I value it now, but in those days I felt it was a punishment to me. I didn't want to do that. So one day I told my Guruji that, look Guruji, I am not interested in this Rag, Desh, etc. what I am playing. I am more interested in playing some songs from Hindi films. So I gave him an example. I want to play this song from the film Guddi. There was a song called Humko Man Ki Shakti Dena. It was a very nice bhajan. So the Guruji, he was very good in this sitar and I really respect him a lot. And he played that song for me and he played it beautifully. So I was very happy. So I said, Guruji, I want to learn this song. Can you teach me how to play this song? Now that is the time Guruji said, I am not going to teach you. You have the interest, you know how to play the sitar, you learn it yourself. I was surprised. I said, how? I don't know which note and how. He said, you will learn it yourself. Something that he said made an impact on me. So the following Sunday when I was at home, I took out the sitar and I just started playing. I heard the song several times. I started. Initially it didn't come through. But after some effort of maybe 2 or 3 hours, I could faintly play that song. And after a little while, I could play the song. However badly. I am not saying I played it as an expert, but I could play that song. Everything that we wish to do, whatever we wish to accomplish, we have it within us. We are a storehouse of immense knowledge, immense power. The question is, we should have the will and that enthusiasm and a lot of hard work to be able to achieve that. If we do that, nothing is impossible. Friends, do try it. And our scriptures also say that real knowledge exists within ourselves, not in the outer world. Thank you.
Yeah. So, friends, I just wanted to show you this actual example in my life where I learned how to play these songs which I like on my own. Now, this is something, it's a very big revelation that if we want to do something, we don't really need somebody else to teach us. We'll find a solution, we'll find a way. And once you do that, friends, life is beautiful. Because what you're able to do on your own, the fun of it is something which it is only to be experienced, to be believed in. So towards the end, friends, I just want to end off by saying that we are here in this world with a purpose, and that purpose is to make it a better world than what we got. Because I'm sure that our predecessors, the generations before us, also did the same thing, that they must have got the world in a lesser stage than what they left for us and what we leave for the future. So whatever little that you can do to make this world a better place, maybe to give a lift man even a smile, to give him a chocolate, or to say a couple of nice things to your driver or the janitor, or people who are less privileged, to be able to help somebody to go and visit a very sick relative, even though you may be very busy, even though you may be having board meetings. I think these are the little pleasures that we sometimes miss out in life. And all of these things happen because of our emotions of ego, or that thinking that we are very busy, or that we are something. That is all fine. But I think the reality in life is to become a good human being. Friends, I'm not saying you are not good. You must be good. But to become a better human being, if you spend your time, if you spend all your thoughts into doing that, that is meditation. That is going close to God. You don't need to do any puja or temple or anything. Whatever you do to increase your goodness, or whatever you can do to help somebody across, you take it from me, friends. People will want to talk with you. You'll become, in Gujarati, as I say, gulabi manas, that people will say that, no, this is a person I would like to speak to, I'd like to talk. And that, friends, is the real thing in life. Otherwise, friends, it has been a great pleasure talking to so many. I can see about 61 number as the total participants. uh, I do not know. I cannot make out the expressions from here because this is a one-way traffic. I can only see myself speaking. So if any of you is awake, is sleeping, or who's not interested, I cannot make out. But I would be very happy if somebody can give me a little feedback or response on this. I would only like to say, do your best to become good human beings. That is the central message that I'm saying. And if you do that, I'm 100% sure that your lives will become phenomenally better. And those of you, if you are interested more in this subject, I would like to say that the Bombay Chartered Accountant Society, who has released that previous book, has now also come out with an e-version of this book. So in case you people, it's not an expensive book. I don't know what it's priced at, but the hard copy version is about 100 rupees or so. But all my personal experiences, if they can be of help to you, please feel free to take that. There's an e-version also. And if also you like, I have one channel which is called the Spiritual Axioms Chetan Dalal channel. I've got 6-7 other videos like the one which you saw right now. If you feel that my experiences can be of use to you, my humble request, do see that and do spread the good word around, because we want to make this a better place to live in this world. Thank you all. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Ahmedabad branch of WRC of ICAI, we are thankful to you in this new avatar, which I can say of yours, because 22 years ago, when I started practice, I seen you in Ahmedabad branch talking and deliberating on fraud detection. And I guess Banford's law, first time that word I heard from you, and many practicing chartered accountants had heard that time. And uh, sir, you spent the time for all of us. Thank you very much. And what I can learn from today is that if you have a strong willpower to do anything, a killing instinct, what uh, Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, that karma has to be done by you, but you have to decide first, and then you have to, in your video we seen that sitar, even I started guitar learning, but after some time I just not able to continue it. But now with this video, I am definitely sure that I will start again it. So thank you very much for your uh, sharing your experience, words of wisdom, and all the participants to spend your time here to listen to uh, Chetan Dalal sir. Sir, thank you very much. From bottom of my heart,
Thank you.
we are thankful to you. Thank you. We are ending this virtual meeting today, but we are meeting on next Sunday at 4 p.m. in same time. We'll see you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you
Pranam.
very much. Thank you.